Welcome back to Monday Magnets. I'm in a new chair, the host chair, and I'm joined by a couple of my co-hosts. Caden McDonald, how are you, mate?
Great, mate. You're in the pilot seat, and I'm in economy today.
Tails, mate, how are you?
I feel like it's economy plus over here. Like we should be sitting in the cheap seats, Dossie.
No,
Get
you're the
us
VIP.
on the front.
You're the VIP, Tails. It's been a really interesting opening round. We've been blue balled a little bit. I'm feeling a little bit unsatisfied.
You know what? At the end of the day, as much of a cock tease as it was the first round of football, footy's back. Premiership points are on the table.
I'm excited. Doss is very excited. He's been down to Fashion Week earlier this week, which is very rogue because you're not one for being very fashionable at all. How was that?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Front row of Fashion Week. Not sure why I was there. I was in a plain black tee and some baggy jeans.
Mate,
but
they've seen the way you flaunt those Melbourne running shorts and those Nike Dry Fit tees. But we'll get into that a little bit later on.
I've kind of been crying out for this for a little while because I'd love to take Doss down to Chadstone and just rework some things, rework the wardrobe.
yeah. I want someone with a bit of star power, a little bit of swagger to take me down. Like, you're good, Baz, but do you reckon a Guinea would take me shopping? I want to look like Guinea. He was on the catwalk. We'll touch on that later, but
It's funny you say that. We could bring him on and he could just roast you about your
I don't want to be
dress
roasted. I want
appearance.
him to be taken under his wing.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think I've got pretty good fashion though. I'm more basic than Guinea, but I think that works more than.
I think out of the three of us, I take the 3 votes in fashion.
I've actually stolen a couple of Tails' clothes. That's how good he is at fashion.
Yeah.
Speaking of opening round, we've had 2 games of footy, and we've had one pretty good game. One that was a little bit wayward.
Opening round, look, last season I was all for it because the concept was we get footy a week earlier. And I'm like, I don't care if it's 1 game, 3 games, 4 games more. I just want football a week earlier. This season, though, I think history will provide that I was wrong. Opening round is a failure. I think it was poor. It wasn't satisfying enough. It didn't make any sense. Now that they've moved the games around, the ladder's going to be off for the entire season because Gold Coast and Essendon aren't playing that game till after round 24. So I know that the AFL couldn't foresee a cyclone happening, but I think the season is now... Call it off. Call the season off.
And not only the ladder, but Supercoach.
It's ruined. Yeah, Supercoach ruined. Tipping's ruined. The ladder's ruined.
It's just, yeah.
You're ruining it.
It's, yeah. Where's that meme? Oh, man, I'm finished. I'm finished.
You're ruining it.
You're ruining it.
Yeah, it's really thrown me off because I was excited. Thursday night, sit on the couch, get some footy into me. No, Cyclone Alfred's got some different thing. And you know what? Fair enough. It's a once in a blue moon you're going to see a cyclone like this. But, I mean, we could have had games all around the state. It doesn't even have to be in Melbourne. We could have had some games in Perth. Chuck one up in Darwin if you're feeling lucky.
Yeah.
Maybe down in Tassie if you want a little bit of nibble in the cold. But, yeah, it's got a big X in my book.
So do you reckon we can't go opening round like this again? Do you like the concept of the season starting a week earlier, but everyone playing during the round?
You know what I don't like, and it's weird. It's when you go onto the app and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for rounds.
Yeah.
And then it's OR. Like, what are we doing?
He's a man of technology.
That's right.
He loves it. But I'm with you on the fact that it throws everyone else off because only 4 teams played, which that's just I feel like if you're gonna do opening round, you got to do it properly, and everyone's got to get involved because.
And then is it still like if every team plays, is it just round 1? Like,
Yeah, it's just round 1.
Just round 1. Take the opening round away, so Bailey can just see round 1. We don't need a round 0. We just need round 1.
And
Make
we were the
round
biggest
1
victims.
Make round 1 great again.
Exactly.
Getting political on the Monday Magnets.
No, I love it because well, it wasn't too much of a chore. It was more for pleasure, but because there was no football in Victoria, like AFL standard, I had to go watch a VFL practice match. So that's just And like, I'm not saying the VFL practice match was shit, but that's
Well,
just
what are you saying?
That's
then?
just what it came to. There was no football, and I was upset.
No, we were some of the biggest victims of opening round because none of our teams played. None of our teams played.
Like biggest victims, like there was people in cyclones, but compared to us, like we had a really rough week.
Oh, they were all right. There was a few blokes blowing leaf blowers into the cyclone, so they had it covered.
You actually see some blokes in Goldie went down. There was a Facebook group, and it was like, help blow back at Cyclone
That's great.
Alfred.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
people went down the beach and just...
Yeah, I love how when there's like traumatic things happen, the humor that comes out on the internet. It's a great part of the human spirit.
It's just it just shows that Australians have culture.
No, you're right.
Because if a cyclone happened in a different country, everyone would be like, oh,
Batten down the hatches.
batten down the hatches, make sure everyone's safe, sandbags.
Well,
And
the Burley Pav needed to get sandbagged.
and then every Aussie's like, oh, how many barrels do you reckon I can surf in Cyclone Alfred?
Is the Burley Pav okay? Because we've been there once.
I think it is.
Yeah. Cool.
Kyle, can you confirm Burley Pav okay?
Beautiful.
Okay.
We got the thumbs up. Burley Pav, all right.
Okay.
So the footy trip's still on. Huge.
Footy trip's still on in a massive way.
Beautiful.
Anyway, opening round, we were the biggest victims. It's very unfortunate. We got a little bit of footy. We were okay with it. Some of our friends of the show at the Pies didn't have the best game yesterday.
Yeah, a bit of a rough start for the Pies. They've been talking a bit of not a big game over the summer, but there's been some critics say that they look too old, too slow. And I think they got stitched up with playing GWS in opening round because they did look too old and too slow. But I think the Giants are going to make a lot of teams look old and slow. So it was a bit rough for the Pies.
Look, I don't know if there was enough pickle juice at NG Stadium. The blokes were getting shot.
They were sucking it down.
Left, right,
Yeah.
and centre with cramps. And at one point, Nick Dacos had double cramps. So all the physios were working on him, which just left no one for the rest of the Pies bench. So it's,
And you know when Nick Dacos is going down with cramps, something's afoot. Because
something's in the air.
he's one of the fittest blokes there is.
100%.
He is tanned as well. I
Yeah.
don't know what is going on, but
he's
he
so
is
hot.
a genuine tanned colour that I've never seen before.
They would have definitely had him on Melbourne Fashion Week if he was around.
Oh,
Do you want to be the type to do it?
100% he'd be the type to do it. His misso would love it. And Josh Dacos Josh Dacos would be front and centre as well. He'd be definitely on the runway.
Before we really dive into this opening round, these two games, can we just get one player that you'd like to see next year's Melbourne Fashion Week on the runway?
Yeah, great. Melbourne Fashion Week
Who's
on
someone-
the runway.
I might go a bit outlandish.
It
If
gives a
you've,
bit of pizzazz.
you've got some, like, I'll give you mine. Actually, maybe I won't go as wayward as I thought I was. I'll go Pat Lipinski. He's a beautiful man. He's got some beautiful fashion. He'd suit the carpet very well. Tails, you-
He's got a beautiful jawline. I watch Pat Lipinski's TikToks all the time for just his shoe content.
Yeah.
I love my shoes, but I don't have the pay packet that Pat Lipinski
No.
does.
Well,
So I just look at them on the website and sort of just keep tabs on them.
You are a professional athlete in a lot of ways, though, Will T.
A semi-professional athlete, but I mean we can work the professional into it sooner or later. Player I want in Fashion Week. Well, Cody Waitman was sort of there, but he wasn't out there. So
No, yeah, we're talking runway. We're talking
Yeah.
walk the runway. Catwalk.
Who do I want to see? You know, I wouldn't mind seeing James O'Donnell from the
Goodness.
Western Bulldogs.
James O'Donnell is
Scuba's son.
symmetrical face. It is
Yeah.
just attractive. He's a good-looking man.
Yeah, Scuba's son. Yeah,
Can turn left and right.
Yeah.
he'll do everything. Does he?
I've got a rogue one. Really rogue. So I love dreadies, and I don't think there's many repping the dreadies in the AFL anymore. But the Hawks have drafted Cody Anderson from the Eastern Rangers. He's got dreadies. He's got the look. I reckon he's going to get some aura from Nick Watson and Jack Ginnivan. So I reckon Cody Anderson strutting the runway would be unbelievable.
The Timu Dale Thomas.
He looks a bit Ty Vickery from here.
It's giving me sort of Tom Lamb back in the day.
What number is he? 36.
Who was the
32.
guy-
He's got 32.
Who was the guy that got drafted with Dusty Martin to Richmond?
Yeah. I should know this. This was right in my hitting zone.
Come on, Doss.
Come on, I've
You
given
got
you
this,
that.
mate.
I've
I
given you
believe
the
in
alley
you.
oop.
I believe in you.
I've ooped it up for you.
Rolton Roberts, Dustin Martin, and I'm going to be dissatisfied if I don't get this.
It's not Steve Morris.
No.
No.
How has this name slipped me?
Anyway,
That's
Let me
right.
get it.
We'll keep
you can
kicking.
check the Wikipedias.
Keep kicking.
Ben Nason.
No, we got to come.
I'm
Ben
s-
Nason.
Ben Nason.
I'm spewing. I had to look up Ben Nason. I'm flat about that.
I hope this isn't disrespectful. Who the fuck's Ben Nason?
No, he's
that is-
iconic.
that is disrespectful.
Him and Dusty came in at the same time for the Tigers, and it looked like they would be the two to take him to the promised land. And then I don't know what happened, but Ben Nason just sort of disappeared.
Well, I guess if we look at the draft crop that's just gone into the Tigers, with what is there, 6 or 7 of them. So hit on
Smiley
this,
looks a
50
bit like Ben Nason. Was I'm a little bit concerned for our man Smiley.
No, Smil will be fine.
No, he'll be great. We love him.
All right,
Get the hat trick.
Pies, Giants. It was good first half, and then it kind of got away from the Pies there at the end. Tails, who'd you like? What did you like to see?
Or you know what it comes down to? Converting your goals.
Good kicking is good football, Bailey.
And
That's
you
right.
know, the old Dunstalls and Locketts and Franklins, they would kick bajillion shots at training. I just don't think enough set shots are being had at training. No one's putting in the hours after
Yeah.
to hang around with a bag of balls and kick
Yeah.
kick bulk goals. It's just, or the cramps could have been happening and the heat was affecting them. But I was rooting for Collingwood in this game just to get the tips right. But yeah, it was tough to watch. as
So Jared Davis brought up a good point on the weekend, and you almost brought it up just before, was that
why are we giving this bloke airtime?
I'm sorry, but he did make a really good point, and he said that the Pies just looked really, really slow after their game style was known to be really fast over the, especially 2022, and then obviously when they won the flags, just such slingshot footy, kick it over the back, run on pockets, just keep running,
Well, 3 years can change a bloke.
and clearly it has tails. So.
I saw a stat from Swamp. It's the oldest Collingwood football side to start a season.
Wow.
The oldest opening round team.
And you know what's funny? They're old and potentially slow, but they've got like 4 guys that are like some of the most elite runners and just fastest, like McCreary. Lipinski's pretty quick.
Bobby
Dacos
Hill.
is so quick. Bobby Hill,
Rafe
so
McInnes.
quick. Rafe McInnes, is he quick?
He's quick.
Okay, good on him.
And tall.
Lightning.
So I just wonder if they can get it right. Are they going to be able to get it right?
Yeah. So as I said earlier, like it was a bit of a stitch up because the knock on them has been that they're too old and too slow, and then they verse the Giants. I think the Giants are going to make a lot of teams look second rate in terms of a pace perspective as well. So they're going to have to turn it around though, because they had a really lame season last year. We got promised that the Pies are going to be right. They're going to bounce back up. They've got some older recruits in, which can work at times, but if it doesn't in these first 4 or 5 rounds, it's going to be like on the edge of, do they just play nothing but kids?
Yeah, well, you see teams bring in veterans, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But over the whole course of the weekend, we'll stay on the Pies GWS. But over the weekend, like you see, not that Joshy Battle's super old, but Tom Barris and Josh Battle come in. You get like Skunk. I mean, Harry Perriman didn't miss a beat. He had like 28 touches. But Skunk, Tim Membry, for example, and then you look at those 2 guys at the Hawks in the back line. It takes a while to adjust. Like, you're not going to come in and just
Well,
fit
especially
the
for a
bill.
forward as well.
Right. So I'm okay. I think Tim Membry's going to be okay. And
Dan Houston comes back in soon.
And let's get back into the game. GWS, no Hogan, no Tom Green,
No Stringer.
no Stringer.
Oh, dear.
So
No
what are we
worries.
talking about?
I don't think you need string in the side to be great.
Maybe you don't, but they've got him and they can use him.
You know who's a freak? Little Darcy Jones.
Oh,
yeah.
Darcy Jones
So
is-
zippy.
He's very quick.
Is he with the helmet at the moment?
Yeah, he's got the lid.
He's always been with that.
What is it about the GWS Giants that makes them look so good, even with these outs? Like, they just was
Their veterans
fluent.
just look youthful. Like, you look at Toby Green.
Callan Ward.
Callan Ward.
Played unbelievably.
Callan Ward.
Cornelio looked good.
Callan Ward played with Will Minton and Jared Harbrow in his first season at the Doggies. And now he's kicking the footy around with Darcy Jones, Connor Iden and
Gadman.
Gadman.
Can we do another little check here? Did Callan, I don't know why I want to know this, did Callan Ward ever play with Brian Lake?
Yeah.
Would have.
Did he?
100%.
100%.
Okay, well, thanks. That's all I need to know.
Brian Lake, of course, played in like 2006, and Collingwood popped up in 08.
Anyway, what
Stupid
The
question.
forward handballing.
That's
I
a
think
shit
that
question.
it's one of the best forward handball.
overlap run?
Yeah, but it is overlap, but it's not. I don't know. We've seen handballs in the past which sort of look a little bit lateral, like the rugby. Like you draw in a player, you give it
Yeah.
to the left. The ability to handball over the press is really impressive by the Giants. They do it so well. You know, a lot of teams have done it recently. They embrace imperfection. Like the Pies had that run and gun. The Tigers have had it. But yeah, the Giants slingshot footy with the forward handball. It's almost impossible to stop.
It seems like there's this fast-paced game. Obviously, it just keeps evolving. But it seems like the last 6 years, every 2 years, it evolves a little bit
Yeah, it
more.
gets
and
quicker.
Changes,
It
a
looks
little bit more.
youthful.
Is it just the fact that midfielders have evolved from these 6'6", 115 kilo man mountains into 78 kilo running machines?
Yeah.
Is that the only thing that it can come down to? Because on the other end of that, you've got Paddy Cripps winning 2 Brownlows in 3 years, and he is that older,
Big boy, big body.
big mid. So, what is it coming down to?
Yeah, I think Dacos coming in meant that everyone wanted a bit of a more dynamic midfield. Like, Will Day's dynamic. He's quick. He's got the lateral step.
So I get this. I understand it, but how, in terms of the
Rosie's
evolution,
dynamic.
Yeah, they're all dynamic. They're all like the Shees and Dakes. They're all
Yeah,
very
yeah.
dynamic. But what I find interesting, and maybe one of there'd be obviously a few that are exceptions to the rule, but just like the last 3-4 years, you get the Dakes, and then you just get types like him. Like
Yeah.
you just get the
Yeah.
same like body, the same type player. I'm not saying that, potentially Shees might at some point be better than Nick Dacos, but you just get very similar types. It's strange how that works.
Yeah, trends in the game. It's what they're looking to draft. Everyone now wants it. Like, it's a personal anecdote. I'm not just talking about the Melbourne Footy Club, but the D's have been one pace for a long time, and now we're looking at Ed Langdon and Windsor. And Windsor looks more of that Dacos prototype than he does of Cripps. So it's like teams, Geelong, they brought in Max Holmes to give that run and dash. So teams are now looking to go from big body contested bulls to, well, how do we go on the outside? And I think it sort of started with Nick Dacos coming into the league.
No, nothing before that. You reckon Nick was
Who is someone who's like quick outside, a little bit of inside, absolute whip it, covers the ground, kicking.
I was going to say
Like Butters, I'd say Butters is more of like a
Jason
inside-
Johannesson.
Jason Johannesson,
great player,
cruising on the outside.
great player.
Mm-hmm.
I like him.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. It is very interesting, and we'll get back onto Nick Dacos. Was playing really well for about a half a footy, being tagged by Toby Bedford, which I expressed to you boys earlier that, Doss, you told me that Tobes did a little bit of tagging earlier, and he's just so quick, obviously. But making a move into the midfield, incredible, and doing obviously can't hold Dacos off, but did a pretty good job. And then Dacos goes off with cramps in the third.
I would hate to be Nick Dacos yesterday. Like any other day, I'd love to be Nick Dacos. He's living a pretty extravagant lifestyle, and he gets the pill most weekends. But watching Toby Bedford clamp him down on the weekend, it was like frustrating to watch.
Yeah, it's tough to say that. It's tough to say the good players get clamped up like that because obviously you want them to get the ball there.
Let him loose.
It's just exhausting.
They're the reason you pay the entry fee and you want to go to the footy. But yeah, for a Giants fan, you'd be stoked with what Snooze did on Dakes.
Anything else that you saw in that game, Tails? I feel like I want some Taylor input.
Look, TBH, I was just stoked at the running. Like, not the running patterns, but like the speed of which GWS, and like I said, the style that they played, I think, brought a bit of youth to their veterans. And like...
You're right. You are right. I thought Callan Ward looked really confident. He looked like he was 5 years younger. Like, seriously. Yeah, he might have had 20 touches or something, but Looked really good.
You're not going to Melbourne yet, Callan. You've still got to keep kicking, brother. Sydney needs you. GWS needs you.
Yeah, his family's in Victoria.
Is he not a Victorian?
So
born and raised.
I think I'm filling in a lot of gaps here, but from what I saw, I think that he was almost going to retire.
He was going to retire and just start his family in Melbourne.
They made them move to Melbourne, and then he went, I'll play an extra year up here. So
the missus and the kids are currently sipping lattes in Melbourne somewhere, and he's just by himself in the west of Sydney.
And that's the commitment to the Giants, and that's why they're going to be one of the best teams this year.
It's unselfish, Cullen, and we like it at the Magnets.
Very unselfish. What did Tails think about the two coaches going head to head?
Oh, wow.
Oh, geez, that was that was fiery. It was a bit spicy.
Is there fines incoming?
Well, we've set a standard, haven't we?
We've set a
You
precedent.
can't give out fines for that.
How? But you have to almost.
You
I
give
think.
a verbal warning because I've had a few stoushes with coaches in my time of coaching, and I've said a few things that I'd like to take
What
back.
was the worst one that you had?
Oh, it's. Well, I had one with an umpire where I blew up. I blew up and I sort of threw my whiteboard marker, and he gave a 50-metre penalty from the other side of the oval, ran all the way across to confront me and say that 50's against you, and I'm like, well, fuck's sake, mate, that's just shit. That's just shit football.
I won't lie, and I'm not proud of this, but I'm pretty bad in terms of umpire.
Get fucked. No way.
Yeah.
Bailey McCabe at indoor soccer was terrifying.
Umpire's worst nightmare.
Oh, I've forgotten
any
about
decision.
indoor soccer.
He just fires up.
Yeah.
Well, I got to stand up for my team.
There was a couple of times last year in footy, Burjo had to pull him aside and say, Baz, it's not worth it, mate.
Yeah, and I tell Burjo, sit down.
Barrel, just calm down. We're up by 20 goals against Masala, mate.
I remember there was one point at half time of one game. I don't remember which game, but I must have said something to a player on the opposite team. And Checkers, who's our
Fearless
captain
leader.
or coach, yeah,
Gaffer.
just call him the
He's
leader.
not the captain, he's the gaffer.
Comes over to me at the halftime huddle, and we're about to walk. It might have been a quarter time huddle, and he says, "Can you apologise?" I'm like, "Check, I'm not apologising in the middle of the game. Are you serious? Like that? We're gonna lose if I do that, because then I'm giving them my emotional.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Can't take a backward step on the footy field.
no way. Check, maybe after the game I'll apologise, but middle of the game I'm not that nice. You know.
Bloody Corey Worthington over here.
Anyway,
It didn't get Bailey McCabe bad on the sidelines, but Craig McRae, he yelled at
Bailey McCabe.
he yelled at Toby Bedford coming off.
I think I'm all for the coaches having a bit of biff between them, but when a coach starts potting players,
Yeah, he
on
yelled.
the opposition.
Yeah, I don't like that.
It's
We don't know the full story. What was
Yeah,
happening?
true.
We saw some vision of them two having a little biff, but
Yeah, he was yelling at Toby Bedford because he was tagging Nick Dacos.
No, I know that. I
And
know
then
that.
Adam Kingsley, did you see him turn around, flare the big muscles?
Yeah.
Craig-
What are you
Flared
doing?
the
What are you
bo-
doing, Fly?
flared the bicep, and he's like, "Mate, I'd sit down if I was you."
Yeah, okay, Kinga.
But what if Craig was just yelling at, "Hey Toby, I think you should be wearing fluoro green boots instead of white ones, mate. You just look a bit better."
And then King is just like,
And
mate,
then-
he's fine with the whites.
Yeah, he's like,
fine. He's all
mate, fucking let him be. He's fine with the white.
good. Yeah, you don't know.
What I loved about it though, in the press conference, it was like two kids in PE getting in trouble, not dobbing on each other. So Craig McRae goes, "Oh no, I just sort of yelled over, we're coming, Kingers, we're coming. We're colleagues, we're mates." And then it went to Kingsley, who's normally fiery, can be a bit fiery in presses, and he's like, "Oh no, we're old mates, man. Fly, he's a good man, he's a good man." And they just looked after each other a little bit, just to try and avoid the 20K fine that Ken Hinkley got last year.
And also, I think the last thing you want to do is have extra gasoline on the next game that you play, because that will be pinned on the Collingwood whiteboard.
Yeah, and the Pies don't need any more heat on them, you don't think, because every team that versus the Pies is going to be coming out hot.
Yeah.
So
It's becoming a little rivalry. Like on Twitter, Jacob Gaynor does a lot of trolling of the Pies fans. So every week on Twitter when they verse each other, There's a bit of banter. So it feels like there was a little bit of heat in the game.
Heaps of heat in the game.
Yesterday, a lot of push and shove. So it feels like there's a bit building there between the sides, which we love.
No, it actually is one of the better modern day rivalries, I would say, or built in the modern age.
Well, that's what happens when you play big finals against each other, like that one on the G a couple of years ago.
There've been a couple of prelims, no?
Yeah, 20 when the Pies got it 2018. There was a big prelim.
That was a Richmond prelim. They beat because Mason Cox smacked them in 2018.
2019, the Giants beat the Pies in an upset. So they played some big finals against each other the last couple of years. It's building a great rivalry, and I think the GWS media team do a good job at stoking the flames as well.
Speaking of some older GWS tales, and I sat down and watched the 16 prelim.
That was good to watch again.
A great game.
They reckon that that's one of the best games ever.
Well,
100%.
No doubt. I was just like, I don't know why I put it on. I actually don't know.
Modern rivalries, you speak of, all your Collingwoods and your GWSs. It's GWS and it's Western Bulldogs.
Yeah, that's a good
That's
rivalry.
the new modern rivalry? Rivalry. The West versus the West. And it's just, you can't find any more just hard-nosed footballers than someone that's playing in the West.
They hate each other.
They hate
each other.
We hate these
Toby kicked Luke Dalhouse in the face, for fuck's sake. They hate each other.
Bont bloody he broke Nick Haynes' larynx.
Yeah.
Really?
In one of the games.
Yeah, deserved it.
Well,
And then Toby Green starts grabbing Bont's hair. It's great. We love it.
well, let's go back to Kingsley McRae. Did Hinkley and
Mitchell
Mitchell
Guinea.
set the precedent last year? Does it need to be a fine? Or, I mean, for us, and so obviously you have to set a precedent and you have to uphold a tribunal. You have to have that. But how do we determine what's actually good for the game, which is entertainment, with that boundary cam, and what needs to be fined? Because is there a finable offence in there?
If both coaches have come out and gone, we're mates, it's all right. Whereas, Sam Mitchell
Ken last year comes out and says, yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that straight away.
And Ken was a bit more aggressive.
Yeah.
That was a big moment, though. That was a massive moment last year.
100%.
And it was emotional. But the AFL will say that Craig McRae going over or, voicing opinions to the opposite bench is a dicey game you're playing. So I think he gets a warning, but he could say the wrong thing that fires up Kingsley. They start going at it. Both benches come together, sort of like the MLB.
Yeah.
And then what we don't want is local footy or junior
Correct.
coaches doing the same thing, which I know it's sort of like, I know that the league does set an example, but you can't account for every other league.
No, but there's a duty of care. There is somewhat of a duty of care. And I think there's never, ever, I'm 22, I'm turning 23. I've played a fair bit of footy in my life, and I've been around footy a lot, but I've never had a period where it was okay for an opposition coach to go and get into a player that he's coaching against.
Yeah.
It's never been okay. Now, the event was realistically not much, but
it sort of goes into an area you don't want to go into.
You don't want to go any further than what it was. So finable, yes, no, maybe. Give me something.
I reckon it might be a fine, but it'll be a little one. It won't be as big as Ken's. But yeah, a bit of a let's not get into the habit of this, boys.
I like it.
Agreed.
Okay. Fine them. Fine them.
Fine with the fine.
Fine with the fine. Moving, well, we're actually going to be going non-linear because that was the second game of the round.
I like it.
We're going to be moving back to Hawks versus
Swannies.
the Swans, which was a great game. Really enjoyed watching that game.
Yeah, it was a good game. Everyone is hot on the Hawks.
Gee whiz, this is a great footy review podcast.
Yeah, it's a great footy review podcast.
Great game.
Yeah, well, it was a good game.
Everyone's hot on the Hawks. And maybe it's because it was an opening round game, but I thought it looked like two sort of middle-of-the-road footy sides going at it. I thought they were evenly matched, but I wasn't completely blown away by the Hawks, and I wasn't completely sold on
That'll
the
get
Swannies.
clipped up.
Click that up.
That.
No,
when the Hawks are bloody 6-0.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. I
It
just
wasn't a great standard.
I just thought potentially the systems haven't been perfected yet.
Yeah.
But I saw the the backbone, the structure being built. I saw it being put out there for us, but I don't think it had been perfected yet. I can see exactly what the Hawks are trying to do from mine.
Sydney's back six wasn't its strongest, which allowed for a lot of Hawthorn party time down forward.
Well, but even the party time down forward, but the Smalls weren't too involved, hey?
Yeah.
They didn't need the Ginnivan, didn't need the Watson, but they still packed them on.
Yeah. But that midfield flooding forward and obviously Will Day kicking 3 and just going absolutely nuts and Lloyd Meek having 2 as well. It's just good football.
Did you have a best on ground for this game, Tails? Because me and you watched this game together.
Oh, mate, it's hard to go past Will Day.
Yeah.
So you just knew that Hawthorn was stoked to have him back. He was happy to be back playing. 3 goals, plenty of footy, 129 AFL fantasy points. Just take that to the bank and...
It feels like he's a step ahead of everyone on the field. Like he's just like 5 seconds in front. He's so...
He's so in tune.
So in tune with what's going on.
So in
Yeah,
tune.
100%.
Has he gone to another level, or is this what he was producing over the last couple of years?
I genuinely think this is what he was doing.
Yeah, I haven't.
It's funny you say that because in that Full Sweat documentary, when he was in the car with Dylan Moore, he was saying this is his first ever pre-season that's been uninterrupted. So it's just finally he's had time to launch into like the season to start off with. So he's been able to really knuckle down and perfect his game and work on his craft. So I think he has been capable of doing it in the past, but he's just had some restrictions and some roadblocks in the way.
Man, so I think he was doing numbers-wise, disposal-wise, what he was doing on the weekend. What I was blown away by was the 3 snags.
Yeah.
And obviously he did play forward. He went forward, which I don't know if he did much prior to the injury last year. But 3 snags, along with 26 disposals, is outrageous.
Yeah, getting on the scoreboard's absolutely massive. I just felt like he moved in a way that I hadn't seen before. And I know that a lot of people have compared him to the Bont or like that sort of player and that sort of echelon. But the way he was like getting in and out of traffic, getting on the scoreboard, it looked like he'd gone to another level. Similar, I don't know if we touch on Finn Callahan, but he had a sort of Will Day-like performance where he's taken that next step. He got on the scoreboard, racked it up. So it almost felt like 2 new midfielders have entered the conversation of being some of the best in the league. It always happens every year. We sort of refresh the best players in the comp, but I felt like those 2 on the weekend just opened the door and said, I'm here, boys.
For me, when D's win the flag, Track and Clary are kicking snags over some of their forwards. Like, this is why I think Will Day is going to be potentially a Brownlow medalist, 2-time Brownlow medalist, is because if he can hit the scoreboard like that every week, it's just like what Track was doing. Like, genuinely, Track was averaging 2 goals a game at a point there in 2021 or so.
Yeah, if you start hitting the scoreboard, that's when you start going to.
I'm going a bit wayward, but
because there are so many midfielders that are in and under that do the unglamorous stuff. They get the handballs out, they get the hard footy, and it helps the side. But when you're putting it on the scoreboard, you're either getting goal assists or you're actually kicking snags themselves. That's when you go to that next level and become one of the prime players in the competition.
Look, Bont can kick a goal.
100%.
Can he?
Lots of them.
He's seen him.
What is he going to be forward?
No, he's
at
cooked.
all?
He's cooked, mate.
He's cooked.
He's cooked.
He'll be mid forward
Yeah.
a lot, but not for a couple of weeks.
So, just who are some of these mids in the league currently that can go and from centre bounce, like if they're playing 90% midfield time, still kick 3 goals a game? Because it feels like there's some of these mids, like potentially Jack McRae, doesn't get as much respect because he can go and get 30 touches, but can he go and impact offensively? Can Tom Mitchell?
Well, Chad Warner and some of the Swans boys, they love getting on the scoreboard. Like Isaac Heaney is a derb, but Chad Warner,
kick 2.
man, he was taking the piss on the weekend.
He didn't have heaps of touches. Well, I'll get it here. He had
He impacted.
21. He had 21 and 2 goals won.
Jeez, I feel like I saw every one of the 21 though.
Yeah.
Like he just
yeah.
weaves and he takes on a few.
They were
and-
prominent touches for sure.
Yeah, he
But
can get on the scoreboard.
is there any other of these dominant players that can go and have 3 a game? Like, who are these guys in the league?
Well, when you let Nick Dacos off the chain, I think he's
Dakes can definitely kick
He's
3.
in that category.
When he's got the pickled juice IV, he can he can kick 3.
I feel like Clary used to be there because I reckon Clary used to kick snags.
Clary's a 1 type guy.
Yeah.
He can get 1. Track's a 3.
Tracks are 2 to 3.
Cripper over the last couple of years has been hitting the scoreboard.
A little bit.
Adam Trelaw.
Adam Trelaw,
Harley
loves a
Reid.
snaggy. Oh, Harley Reid.
I just feel like some of those names to the latter end of that are the 1 goalers, whereas I don't think they can go and kick 3. Can Trelaw go and kick 3? I don't know if he's kicked.
Yeah,
kicked
he
3.
loves a goal.
He's kicked 3.
I hope he's kicked 3 once. But
Anyone else in the Hawks that can do something similar?
so what I was going to bring up was
Maybe.
this is a bit of a hot take, but I genuinely think when all is said and done, James Sicily will be the greatest utility of all time. Where are you with that? We're talking to Sean Burgoyne.
Well, Brett Goods is in that conversation.
Yeah,
I thought of Jack Watt straight away. He was a utility.
Pav, Berg. I think Sis.
Well, he's the best swingman in the comp at the moment. He's an all-Australian. He is an all-Australian defender, isn't he?
He won the game for him.
Yeah, he's an
essentially.
all-Australian level defender, and then he's probably an all-Australian level forward as well. But they've done it a couple of times. They've swung him forward a couple of times in the last couple of years. What a chess piece to have in the coach's box, knowing that, especially with the Hawks, I would say a knock on them is their forward line a little bit. Like, it's a little bit light on in terms of key position. I love when Marbiel Chol starts running and jumping and competing. But if that doesn't happen, sometimes from a tall forward perspective, they can struggle a tiny bit, but you chuck Sicily forward and even Hardwick a little bit, and it looks like a genuine forward line because he takes clunks, he kicks goals, and he competes.
This is why I think the Hawthorn have been sort of labelled the Hollywood Hawks as well. It's the versatility of the side to go, all right, we've got Dimmer and we've got Sis down back, but when we need to sort of change the game plan, we can throw them down there, just put Josh Battle and Tom Barras and get them to sort of hold down the fort and then boost up the forward stocks like crazy.
I mean, I know it's pretty common knowledge. It might be a silly thing to say, but part of the whole conversation we've had the last 10 minutes is why are players so much more impactful, or who are these players that are so
Versatility.
impactful? It's because they can hit the scoreboard and this
Versatility.
and
The
stuff
word
like
of
that.
the week on the Monday Magnets podcast. Versatility.
Kyle's just sent me a text here, and I didn't even look at this, but
Who's Kyle?
Oh, man.
that's our
sorry.
producer at the moment.
Sorry, yeah.
That's our producer at the moment.
I didn't know our producer was sending us
No, so
text.
that's our producer at the moment, Will.
I thought it was one of your mates, but yeah, continue.
thought you were
I do
bringing up-
apologise, Kyle. That's my fault.
Chad Warner, because we were talking about him hitting the scoreboard and
Yeah.
some of these other players, 12 score involvements. 12.
Yeah, that's
He had
insane.
21 touches, half of them, over half, score involvements.
Now that's impact.
That is impact. And this is why I think there's just there's levels to this game. Like, I don't know if the Saints have one midfielder that can impact scoreboard-wise like any of the Sydney Swans mids.
When I think of the Saints midfield, I don't think of that like.
There's not one. And I love them all. They all do a great job.
Did the Saints have an A grader?
I still think Jack
Wilkie.
Steele is...
Jack Steele?
Yeah.
I think Jack Sinclair, Wilkie, Rowe Marshall are my A graders. I got 4 of them. And Nazai Wanganeen can push there.
I think Anthony Caminiti.
Wow. Well, anyway, that is why I'm so high on some of these players and the whole Swans midfield is because there's just not... Swans have 3 of them.
Yeah.
Swans have 3 genuine scoreboard threats.
Let us know in the comments if there's any more that we've missed. High impact,
There'd be plenty.
high value midfielders.
There would be plenty.
Could you make like a versatile 20?
Yeah, that could go in any position.
Yeah.
Like Finn Callahan can go
Yeah.
anywhere. He's pretty versatile.
Half back.
Just body
bit of
type.
mid.
Body type bloke.
Yeah.
Can go anywhere. Did we touch on him? I don't think we touched on...
No, I tried to sort of crowbar him in while we were talking about
Yeah,
Will Day,
yeah.
but we didn't talk about Finn Callahan because we've left a whole segment for the man. Well, what is there to be said? What a performance.
Yeah. And he's probably the AIA Monday Magnet of the week.
Now, he's the Monday Magnet of the week. He's not the Ball Magnet of the week because there was someone who...
Yeah, Josh Kelly had 36, so ball magnet of the week, the player who gets the most touches across the weekend, who just racks it up. Josh Kelly. And we were talking about some of their older players performing again. I know he's not old. He'd be 30.
He's tracking along.
He'll be ticking them up there for sure.
36 touches of the pill.
So our opening round AIA ball magnet of the round is Josh Kelly, and he's a superstar, but he's still doing it at 30 odd years old. Talking just about this GWS team, I had them in. If we go back a couple of weeks to our predictions, I had them facing Freo in the grand final.
I hate that grand final.
I know
like,
you do.
Like
Such
team wise, it's
Such a bad grand final.
it's very astute observation by you. They're two great teams coming up, so I'm not potting your prediction. I'm just saying
I just don't think the AFL cares about
purple
your
and
grand final
orange
day
running
experience.
around on the MCG. Ooh.
I don't
What?
think they don't care about you boys. So
Maybe charcoal and white,
I reckon Freo would go white in the granny.
and maybe
Like they did in...
did they in 13?
Yeah,
they did.
13.
Yeah, that was a hot Guernsey.
With,
I love that,
great Guernsey.
With Daniel Pearce running around with Matty Pav.
I don't want to be too negative because we want to be positive on the Monday Magnets.
Yeah.
And I also don't want to fire up my great man Drews. But
No, I know why you're saying
that
it.
2013 grand final Freo team, if you look back historically, it's a bit light on star power.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Fife, Neil.
Yeah.
But
but it's like
Neil really hadn't come into...
He's still in the team.
it's like Daniel.
Still in the team.
And
I don't want to pot
come into his
anyone,
own.
but it's like Daniel Pearce
Ryan
and
Crowley.
Lee Spur.
Ryan
and I
Crowley.
think Tommy Sheridan.
Yeah, but Ryan Crowley's he's chasing tail, trying to get Luke Hodge, Sam Mitchell,
Zach Dawson.
So who do you take? Ryan Crowley, Toby Bedford.
Brent Guerra, Brad Hill, Cyril Rioli, Lance Franklin, Jared Ruffhead, Jack Gunston, Luke Bruce.
Well, no one can beat that team.
Zach Dawson, Lee Spur. There's just a little bit
They had
light on.
Chris Main at the time.
But that's what Ross does. He does a lot with a little.
David Mundy.
Good on him.
Let's go back to your fashion week. You weren't there.
Oh,
Tales.
No,
Dossie.
I was watching on Eagerly from the
Bad luck,
from the
fellas.
socials.
Was there
Bad luck.
a live stream?
No, I just saw a few photos come through of McDonald flaunting
Stiff
his
boys.
best pair of cotton on jeans and
Yeah. Why wasn't I invited, Dos?
Yeah, I think they just thought, who's moving the needle culturally from a fashion perspective.
Yeah.
So I got the nod. Trey was there. Check was there.
Oh, Checkers was there. No.
Sedgerton was there.
they saw Checkers wears different socks. If anyone comes to meet Checkers, he'll always wear different socks. So that's just the little fashion tip that he gives out.
Yeah.
So we're obviously just moving the needle. Got the invite rolled in. There was some free
Canopies?
free cordials,
Yeah.
and
Brown lemonades.
some sliders as well, which were good. Still, once again, and this happens when we go to events sometimes, but we just seem to be 6th, 7th, and 8th in line for the trays of food. Just wasn't making its way out the back, which is frustrating.
And then when you go to try and find the trays, they come around to where you were.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
you just go missing.
Yeah, so you go to the bar to be right at the front when they're coming out the kitchen. They start coming out the back entrance. I feel like I just couldn't get my hands on some sliders. But
What were the canapes?
So they had these little chicken sort of. It was like a
not
chicken
chicken katsu?
sandwich filling, but it was like corn chips on top, and it was like mini chicken sandwiches. They had the sliders, bowls of chips. It was great. It was great. But rolled into the fashion festival. We were front row, and it was the brand Homie are doing.
Yeah.
Like
Good
sweaters,
brand, yeah.
and they're doing AFL apparel, and they're trying to make it quite fashionable. So all these models start walking the catwalk to these absolute bangers wearing some of the clothes, but then a handful of the models were AFL players. So Jai Simpkin rolls out. Lawson Humphreys was looking $1 million, and then all of a sudden there was a bit of murmuring throughout the fashionistas watching on, and Guinea walks out trying to do his best Zoolander, but he kept laughing at himself. So he's like walking the red carpet trying to be serious, but he just kept pissing himself. And then he noticed some of his mates, so he just starts pointing at them and celebrating. But yeah, it was a funny event, and some of the kits look pretty cool.
Yeah, a few AFLW players as well. I know Jessie Wardlaw was
Jessie Wardlaw looked amazing.
Yeah, she was $1 million. She was right at home.
Taylor Harris as well was there.
Yeah. We loved. We've met her a few times now at
Legend.
that cafe.
Legend.
Legend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Legend. Like
Absolutely.
we've got a couple of awkward characters in our group, but she comes over and just
Yeah.
says
Yeah,
hello.
puts up with us.
You know what I mean?
From a brand perspective, she's powerful. Like
Yeah.
in terms of one of the faces of AFLW, Taylor Harris. And she's a star on the field. Crashes packs, kicks snags, but off field, she is a very strong brand, which I
It feels like
admire.
she's just going all the time. New thing, new thing,
Yeah,
new
yeah.
thing, new business.
When you think of Taylor Harris, you think powerful.
yeah.
Knocking girls out, boxing, and then walking red carpets. A woman that can do both.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome. We love Taylor Harris. We love what she does. She's absolute beast.
But the Fashion Fest was good. Front row seats. It's probably the first and only time I'll go though. I just feel like I feel like I was found out. I feel like they might have thought, I'd bring the D's jacket and maybe a backwards cap, but they saw me front row just in a t-shirt and jeans, and they thought, "What's going on here?"
I just can't really get behind DOS at the show. I feel like you're not the demographic. I don't know about target audience. I just want to start a little debate to finish off. We need a preview round one. We'll do a little preview, just some little tips. But good friend of the show, Austin Cookson, brought up a
Great friend of the show.
great friend of the show,
Cooking
Austin,
Arcus.
Yeah.
brought to us a interesting little debate, and what he said was the GWS duo of Taylor and
Will?
What else did he say?
Will Taylor?
No,
Taylor
not,
Tray?
no, not Will Taylor.
He said
GWS
Jack
backline, Buckley
Jack Buckley and
right.
Sam Taylor.
are the best back duo of the last 15 years, is what he was. I don't know if he
He's
claimed
used some
it.
hyperbole there, Cookson, hasn't he? 'Cause
I don't know if he
that's-
claimed it, but he said they have the potential or are.
The best back duo
Come on,
in the last
Cookson.
15 years.
Now, I don't know if he was saying, they could be that or they already are that, but I just want to spark some debate because Cooko, I usually really respect his takes.
He has got a
Now,
good footy lens.
a friend of the pod, Ted Richards, would have some other things to say.
Yeah.
Because him and Lewis Roberts Thompson had a great career.
Almost as good as the Freo side that I listed with Zach Dawson and Lee
Yeah.
Spur roaming around.
So
So you want some backline duos?
I like those two. I mean, I love the GWS backline. I do. But Rance and Grimes and Scarlett and Enright and what are we talking about, Austin?
Yeah. Well, Rance is probably one of the best defenders ever.
Do you reckon?
But then
Rance
drops off
over
with
Scarlett?
Grimes.
Rance House.
I
Scarlett
feel like
probably did it longer.
Scarlett invented it, and then Rance copied not copied, but like Scarlett was that first player.
Changed the homework a little bit.
Yeah.
Just changed a few answers.
So
Let's think of duos though. So
Josh Gibson and
Brian
Birchall?
Lake.
Brian Lake. Yeah, Birchall, yeah. That's the iconic one. Gibson and Birchall.
Gibson, Birchall.
McGovern and Barras.
McGovern
Yeah.
and Barras.
May and Lever.
shut
Come
up,
on,
Doss.
come with me. Come with me.
No, love him.
Come
love
with
him.
me, come with
love
me.
him. Love him.
Who else?
But
Who else really stands out?
But
to me?
I think
Charlie Comben and Aiden Core.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
an upcoming one.
Let's pass on that one.
Charlie Comben will be one of the better
No, I like the
defenders in
Chom.
the league.
Charlie Comben will be one of the most versatile defenders in the league
Oh, with his
when they
utility
swing
and-
when they swing him back down forward. But let's not stray away from what we're really talking about here.
15
Brisbane,
years goes to 2010.
So that is Scarlett and
Simon Black and Daniel Merritt.
I don't reckon he'd count. Oh, you
Yeah,
would
that'll
count
be a
Scarlett.
bit before.
Scarlett, was a little bit before that, but he would have been still running
No,
around.
Scarlett would still be running around. It was end of his career, but where can that duo go?
Definitely. It is the best duo right now
In
in
the
the
comp?
league. Yeah. And it's one of the best backlines in general. And I think in the next, and they're young too. I think Sam Taylor would be 22. So for the next 10 years, teams are going to have to kick it around Sam Taylor
Okay.
and Jack Buckley. So I think it could become,
Did you just say Sam Taylor's 22?
would he be?
So
He kicked his first goal in 6 years on the weekend.
24.
he's
He's not like, but like defenders like Sam Taylor with that size normally come on at 25, 26. He's such a mature body.
Yeah.
He might be 24, 25. I've gone with 22. I always undersell people by age, just
That's okay.
just for hyperbole.
That's all right. So
Says he's 0.
He's 0 years old.
that's good. Well, what I would argue is whether they can be that duo and put that title of
25.
25.
25.
Nah, he's
Okay. Same
over
with
the
Brendan
hill.
Zerk, that's
He's over the hill.
Are either of them better than Cal Wilkie?
Sam Taylor
Sam
is.
Taylor and
You think Sam Taylor is?
Jack
Sam Taylor.
Buckley.
I disagree.
Sam
but-
Taylor's better than Will.
Really?
Or hang about. I think Cal Wilkie is a better defender than Jack Buckley and Sam Taylor. Does he have the duo to work with him? Not really.
I don't think he is. I think Sam Taylor's better. I love Cal Wilkie too. I love Cal Wilkie. Great interceptor.
So this is why debate's great.
All round good bloke as well.
So are we 2-1 Wilkes?
Yep.
So who else is Stephen May too gone now? Is he too old?
I think
Yes.
off the back of last year, he's slid out of the combo.
Tom Stewart. I know he's a bit different.
Tom Stewart.
Bit different.
See, Tom Stewart has the attributes and is a better footballer, but Sam Taylor's taller, bigger. Like, I feel like I'm taking the avatar of Sam Taylor over Tom Stewart, but Tom Stewart would be better than Sam Taylor is. Does that make sense? Like,
No,
I feel like
I
pound for
understand.
pound, Tom Stewart's better, but Sam Taylor is bigger.
And you'd probably take him for the next 10 years.
Yeah,
So,
because he's 21.
Tails?
Tom Stewart as a key defender, it's a funny one for me.
I know it's different.
Because he's so undersized and he's just the one that sits out the back and
roams
gets
around.
the cheapies and literally is just the last
Still
set.
gets a hard ball, though. Well, he still can grab a hard ball.
Okay.
Tom Stewart.
Yeah, right, mate. I think Callum Wilkie is heads and shoulders above Tom Stewart.
Thank you. Well, now, Tom Stewart's also had 5 or 6 AAs. So,
Yeah.
I'd say Wilkes now.
Yeah,
yes,
if
yes.
I had that many uncontested marks, I'd probably be an AA as well.
Okay, I know you boys hate Geelong. But just to end up that discussion before we get into our last little couple of minutes
In terms
of
of
the show.
duos, though, I don't think there's a better duo.
At the moment, no.
Because McGovern's just lost Barras.
And can they become, what's the percentage chance of them becoming the best duo of all time? Best back duo of all time?
Yeah, I reckon it's
4%.
I reckon it's
They got to win
pretty
flags.
Yeah, I need to see some more. I need to see a bit more.
Well, you're about to find out, son.
We're about to find
You're
out.
about to find out.
Love what I saw on the weekend. Like, they've got huge potential. It's got to convert.
They've been doing it longer than the weekend, though. Like they,
No, I know.
but then they have missed games, both of them, though. So continuity, put a season together.
Yeah.
Fun
Okay.
fact, Jack Buckley was actually Garbo for 4 years before he got picked up.
Really?
Yeah, he was a Cat B rookie, and he was picked up as a garbage man.
Wow.
Jeez.
Well, we'll get those stats in next week.
His dad played footy.
No, I don't think so.
Played backgammon.
Well, great game. Let's go quickly review this round one. We're going to have 9 games.
The D's are back, guys. The D's are back on Sunday against the Giants, which is concerning.
Okay, not only the D's are back, so are the Dogs, so are the Saints.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, apparently.
So
Yeah,
are
everyone's
Kyle's
playing
Tigers.
again.
So let's just quickly go over round one. We don't want to waste too long. We don't want to talk about each game individually too much, but let's just give
Well,
it...
blockbuster to kick things off. Feels like the season's starting. Season's starting on Thursday.
The odds say Richmond $10.50.
Oh, that's generous.
$1.05 a Carlton. Yeah, look, from mine, Blues walk this one by 100 points. Sorry, Kyle. Do we get a couple of debutants?
Sam Lawler will debut. He's
will?
had a
Take the 10 cards. It's actually... mate,
I'd put $5 on it.
yeah,
And
stuff
a
the
cheeky
Blues.
50 would be all right.
No, it's good odds. It's good odds.
Sam Lawler has had a face redesign or something. The man has gone from a boy to a man. He's looking fit and firing, and hopefully debut.
Must
on
have
Thursday.
been the plastic surgeon after he...
Yeah, maybe he got the
broke his
jaw realignment because it's maybe that's.
I feel like maybe the recovery's a bit too quick for it to be happened already.
Camperelli will debut.
Camperelli would debut. Well, it's awesome that he's going to debut. It's sad for the other brother. It'd be awesome if they came in together.
Yeah.
But
Levels to the game though.
this
Yeah.
was supposed to be the Laylaw Jagger-Smith matchup, and we're not going to get it.
And Smiley's having a
Smiley out.
yeah hammies. I think.
So could we get Taj Houghton? Could we get Jonty Fall?
I think Taj Houghton will.
You reckon he's good to
Actually,
go?
I don't know why I've said that. I've heard nothing.
We'll
on
get
that.
Luke Traynor, surely.
Luke Traynor?
He's been the only one that's been out on the track.
And then we'll get
full
Nick
time.
Haynes.
And we'll
who
get
will
Nick
debut
Haynes.
for the Blues.
And you're really big on Hainsey, aren't you?
Yeah, I think that's gonna be one of the best backline duos for the next 10 years.
Okay.
Wiedering and Haynes.
That's really strange.
Guys, I think game of the week, just quietly, and I know the grand final rematch is during this week, but I think Hawthorn-Essendon will be a really close game.
Could be an absolute rip snorter.
What about Freo Cats?
No.
for our Cats?
No.
That's the following day in G.
Yeah,
in
it's down
HBA.
GMHBA though, so I think the Cats just roll over them and just sort of pants them in front of
They
40,000.
lost, didn't they lose there in the Prackies?
What, Geelong?
Yeah.
Yeah, to Essendon.
They lost to Essendon.
They
yeah,
lost
right.
to Essendon.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
they lost to Kako.
I think potentially I need predictions. So Carlton over Richmond.
Yeah, Carlton.
Carlton.
Or just a game of footy.
Yeah.
Footy
Game
wins.
of footy. Sorry, Carl. Hawks Dons on
Hawks.
Friday.
Hawthorn.
Hawthorn 2-0.
I've got the Hawks as well, even though that's going to be a short break for them. They've got, what are
Yeah.
they going to have, 5 days? I don't know. But
They played Friday, so
7 days.
7 days.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. And then Saturday morning, early lunch, Cats Freo.
Well, it's at 1:20, so I don't think that's it in the morning.
No, well, but it's just the early
just
game.
know.
morning for the Freo guys though.
It's the early
Given the time
Yes,
difference.
True that.
Yeah, stuff you tails.
Freo always win down there, but I don't think they're going to win. I think the Cats.
I
will
do.
win.
Oh, I think Barrel Smith might turn up and put on a show for the Cattery.
So
I'm
Geelong.
going the Cats.
Geelong.
Cats.
I'll go
I want the
Freo.
Dockers to win though.
Swans Lions at the SCG.
I reckon
big
what
rematch.
we saw from the Swans wasn't that great. So I reckon the Lions are just going to go bang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we get a Levi Ashcroft debut.
100%.
We should.
If Levi Ashcroft doesn't play, I'll vomit all over myself.
So very very excited for that. Yeah, Lions.
Lions.
Lions, I will go. Now it is the Will Taylor Cup at Marvel Stadium. The
Yeah,
Dogs versus
buddy.
North Melbourne. What? Any debutants?
Well, Cooper Hines won't play, I don't think. I think the mids are sort of locked in. Sanders will come back in.
How are you expecting the Doggies to play? Give me a little. Yeah. How do you expect both these teams? You follow them both pretty closely.
I reckon the Dogs will play well, but just too many injuries. There's
Yeah.
so many holes.
You're tipping the Roos.
Yeah.
Really?
Round one.
I'm tipping the Roos.
Love it. I love
Unbelievable.
this.
I think North Melbourne gave Melbourne enough of a fright in their practice match. Was with them for 3 quarters, and North Melbourne's like trouble the last 4 or 5 years. They can put 1 quarter on the board. They just can't put 4.
Nah.
But
yeah.
to put 3 against a good Melbourne side, I think North will.
I
this game.
think if North can keep moving the ball really quick this year, then they can definitely get a couple of upsets. I don't think it's going to happen in round 1. I think it's going to be the Dogs winning this. But if North can keep really moving the ball fast, then
McKercher, Fost, Sheasel, Luke Parker, he'll debut.
I'm tipping the Roos.
Jack Darling.
wow.
I'm tipping the Roos.
I'm tipping the Dogs.
Yeah.
And I love the Doggies with all my heart, but Waitman out. I'm pretty sure Ed Richards still out. Bond out. Scott out.
Liberatore to put on a show from mine.
Yeah.
Later, actually starting at the same time, 2 games in Melbourne, at the same time. Well, this is a modern day rivalry if I've ever seen one. Collingwood, Port Adelaide.
The prison bars.
Prison bar debate.
I love that game.
Such a good game. I'm so keen. Maybe how are we going to do this? I might get down to GMHBA at 120
Do we?
and then come back up for Pies Port.
I reckon we do.
I reckon the Power win.
Jack Lukosius comes into the forward line.
Does Dan Houston
No
let that
Butters.
happen? Will Dan Houston play?
I think Dan Houston plays.
Dan Houston plays against his old side. Debut for the
At
Pies.
the G, hard to win at the G.
I will.
What a game.
Yeah, I
What
don't
a
know. This is
game.
hard.
It'll
It's,
be a really good game.
at the moment, Pies are $1.61, Port $2.32.
Wow. Bit of value
It is.
there.
It's at the G. I'm going to back in the Pies,
Gamble responsibly, guys.
Yeah, I'll go the Power.
but
for
could
some
go
reason.
anywhere. Yeah, could go. I like.
I'm a bit 50-50. I think we could see Port Adelaide get up, but I'd love to see Collingwood reply back.
The only reason I don't, the reason I think Pies win this game, apart from the fact that it's at home, is I don't know how Port are going to go into this game, what their lineup's going to be, but I think their back line are really tall, and Pies are going to come in with obviously quite a small forward line, fast forward line. Oh, sorry, yeah, forward
6-day break though for Collingwood.
line. Yeah, right. Well, they're old, so.
Oh, and slow apparently.
Moving on to the Sunday last 3 games of the round, Crows, Saints in Adelaide.
What a game.
Or
Shut up,
Crows.
Doss.
No, I'm not even kidding.
You like that game?
Crows.
Yeah, I think they're sort of evenly matched. I think the Crows will get it done, but
They're $1.42.
I'm just going home ground advantage.
yeah, I like that.
I'm backing my Saners.
Yeah.
Backing my Saners to get the job done in Adelaide. Over a couple of years ago, we started the 8 and zip.
Here we go.
D's Giants.
Here we go.
Giants win by 80 from mine. Sorry.
Yeah, they do look good.
Nah, it's actually, the odds say it's a lot closer, but
When does Jesse Hogan come back?
Not this week. No Green, no Stringer still. And
yeah,
no,
it didn't matter this week.
no Briggs.
Didn't matter this week.
I think Callum Brand kicks 5.
It's at the G. The Giants don't like the
I
G.
reckon we'll be as sneaky, like we'll be more competitive than what people think. But
Yeah.
I'm going to tip the Giants.
Yeah, I reckon.
I might
be
tip
up
the
there.
Giants as well. Have you got some insight for us, Dales? Or?
Insight. I haven't been down to Melbourne training, sorry, mate.
Okay. Well, I think D's have a slight chance, but Giants to win. And then our last game of the round, a blockbuster at Optus.
Can the Suns put the white shorts on and win this season? They couldn't do it last year. They were horrible on the road, and it doesn't get much more easier than West Coast.
And we're going to miss out on we're not going to get Leo Lombard debut, unfortunately.
Really?
Well,
So-
he's out.
Injured.
So the shoulder wasn't just a stinger.
Oh, I don't think so, mate. No.
That's a pity.
But we'll be back on the Harley Reid train.
Oh, Harley.
Your mate?
I love Harley. He sat in this chair once.
Yes, he
did.
did. Suns.
Suns by heaps. I reckon West Coast will be... Like, people are looking for signs of improvement. I think this could be one of their worst years.
Did Bodie Hewlin get injured?
No.
No clue.
No
Don't think
worries.
so.
All good. Thanks, boys.
I think this game will be closer than some people expect. But for safety, I'll tip the Suns.
Yeah, Suns. Suns?
Yeah, Suns.
All right. That is episode 5 of the Monday Magnets done, boys.
How
How
are
you just feeling?
Feeling
Great.
good. It's
I
a
feel-
Monday.
Yeah, I feel like we've been drip-fed footy, and now next week we're into it. We're into it. We just spoke for an hour for 2 games. Next week's pod's going to go for 8 hours, so I'm pumped.
No, I don't know about the engagement. I feel like people might click off.
I feel like Joe Rogan does about that sort
Yeah,
of
we'll,
time.
do we'll do an extended special, round 1 special.
Oh, okay.
Chuck it
well,
on the Patreon.
I don't have heaps of time, so I might leave you boys to do the
I've got
other
all the
half of
time.
that.
Yeah.
That's all I do is talk footy.
I'll talk about running patterns. We'll bring out a whiteboard.
Tick leads.
Yeah.
Bring a whiteboard, I reckon,
Yeah.
soon.
Nah, it's the
I
Dan
wa-
Does Footy model. I've thought about the whiteboard. It's the Dan Does Footy model.
Oh, just Tails with
But
the whiteboard.
one with like running patterns.
We're with the
Oh.
whiteboard.
Not one where it's like a fraud loop. I would never take away like fraud watch from Dan Does Footy. He's obviously heads and shoulders above us 3.
We can
Yeah,
get
we'll go to debate that one.
we can potentially get a whiteboard. Maybe we get a chalkboard. That's our point of difference.
No, well, we are levels below because Footy with Alex put us, a few rungs below the great man Dan Gorringe. So there's levels to the game.
Thank you so much for watching Monday Magnets. We'll be back next week for another game, and we'll see what the results are from this week. But a jam-packed round of footy. We're excited.
I'll see you there, and I'll see you there.
I'll see you boys there.
Yeah, I guess I might see you there. GMHBA.